I trembled, wanting to touch him but feeling frozen. Still looking at the ground, I nodded. With characteristic efficiency of motion, he reached with one finger and pulled my chin up. A shudder ran through me as I felt his power, the power I saw in every move he made, that he exuded at the front of the class, that he spoke when he told us what we were capable of, that coiled and expelled from him whenever he slammed any part of his body into the punching bag. This was the power that lived unquestioned within him, so seamlessly that it was as though it wouldn't exist without him. I moved my eyes to his. Dominic pushed forward and kissed me, hard, his body pressing against mine as I hit the wall behind me. I thrashed against him, my hands ripping at his t-shirt as I fought to breathe. I felt like I could already come. I could feel his erection against me as he slowed down and eased back. "We'd need a condom," he whispered, looking down at me. My eyes felt out of focus as I looked back at him. "I have them in my purse," I whispered back. A lot of my characters are like that. I whispered, barely recognizing my own voice. Dominic stepped back and I walked shakily to the door. I opened it and stepped through, blinking at the sunlight streaming in through the glass walls. It felt like a different world. I retrieved my purse and re-entered the supply room unsteadily. Dominic met me and pushed me back up against the wall. His eyes blazed into mine as he reached and ran a finger from my collarbone down to the top of my sports bra, grabbing my breast with a firmness just short of painful. My breath came to a fiery halt in my throat. "Breathe," he whispered, looking into my eyes. It was an order he gave often during class. I obeyed, expelling the breath caught in my throat and deliberately guiding in another one. Dominic reached up and removed my ponytail holder, then yanked my shirt and bra over my head and pulled me forward. He guided me across the room to a stack of floor mats about waist high. He lowered his hands and yanked my pants and panties down to my knees, lifting me to the stack of mats and pulling them the rest of the way off almost before I realized what was happening. I kicked my sneakers off and looked at him, breathing heavily. I wanted him to throw me down, ram his cock into me and fuck me hard, take full control of me, of him, of everything. I tried to wiggle impatiently and realized that despite the calmness of his movements, the grip he had on me was like a clothespin on tissue paper. I felt his breath on my ear, steady in comparison to my almost frantic panting. Slowly, he moved his hand from my breast to the back of my neck again, sliding up through my hair and gripping into a fist. I caught my breath. "Well, conveniently enough, I want to fuck you too, Jackie," he whispered smoothly, and my legs trembled. "And I think I know what you want me to do. You want me to hold you down, fuck you hard, get pretty rough with you." I wondered if for the first time I would come without actually being touched. "You're looking for power. In your own way, getting fucked rough like that will make you feel powerful. Is that right?" My vision was becoming fuzzy, and I could hardly make sense of the words he was saying. Dominic let go of my hip and slid his hand across my stomach, up over my breasts, and finally to my throat. "Everything you're looking for, Jackie, you already have inside you." The tone of his whisper had changed, and I barely had time to process the words before he whipped me around, forcing my mouth open with his as he kissed me again. He held my hair in a fist of steel and moved his other hand back to my body, lightly brushing my rib cage. I whimpered desperately. He hadn't even touched my pussy, and I felt close to a kind of climax of which I didn't know the meaning. It felt like a near euphoria, combined with a vague but deep fear that together seemed to be pushing tears toward the surface. "Dominic," I pleaded. My voice trembled like a blade of grass in the breeze. He looked up at me. I realized then what he was doing. He was making me wait, making me feel, making me experience every single nuance, every detail, everything that was in me, in my body, rather than slamming it all away. And suddenly I wondered if that was what having power over power meant. The tears flowed out of me like an orgasm, fully beyond my control, my breath turning to a silent sob that felt somehow calm, even peaceful, as I felt a space open up in me I wasn't sure I had ever felt before. Dominic's eyes stayed on mine. The wave moved through me, and Dominic dropped his finger to my clit. I gasped and climaxed as soon as he moved it, orgasm bursting forth in a rush so overpowering I almost felt I would lose consciousness. Steady, unabated screams pulsed through me as Dominic held my gaze as well as my balance with his unyielding grip at my neck. When it was done, I fell limp, my entire body slick with sweat, legs shaking and hanging like string over the stack of mats. Dominic lowered me onto my back and let go of my hair, then backed up and retrieved my purse. Hands shaking, I reached and fumbled through it in my horizontal position. Extracting a condom, I pushed it into his hand. I heard the package rip open and my purse drop to the floor as Dominic backed up. He slid me up farther in the stack of mats and leapt lightly onto them, pushing between my legs. My eyes were closed and I opened them as he hovered above me. I was far beyond words, knowing only what was in my body. "Breathe," Dominic whispered again as he dropped his body onto mine, plunging into me and grasping my shoulders as his breath rushed against my ear. He thrust into me with rhythmic strength as I lay like a doll, sprawled powerlessly across the hard foam beneath me. Dominic pumped hard, holding my hips solidly. His breathing changed as he thrust just a bit harder and came inside me, my body like a deflated balloon, a beautiful, motionless receptacle for his cum. I closed my eyes again as he finished, feeling a sorrow at the impending loss of contact with his body. When he pulled out, I opened my eyes and turned to him. He leapt off the stack of mats and reached to help me down. I stopped at the edge, not ready to stand up yet. In a daze, I looked at the floor, my body shaking. Dominic's low voice broke the silence. "Whatever is in you, whatever you're feeling, feel it. Don't hide from it. Don't try to beat it. Be with it until you understand it, until you know where it comes from." I frowned at the floor. "Then it won't rule you anymore." I raised my eyes to his as he finished the sentence. Sweat dripped from my forehead onto my neck as my quick breaths punctuated the silence in the room. "That's what power is," Dominic said. "It doesn't have anything to do with force or subjugation." I looked down at his hand as he held it out to me again and allowed my body to slide off the mats. My feet on the floor felt foreign. I gathered my clothes and dressed slowly. Dominic handed me my purse as I straightened, and we walked to the door together. I turned to him. Without a word, he grabbed the back of my neck and kissed me, rendering me immediately breathless as I braced myself against the door with one hand. He let go of me slowly. His hand brushed the small of my back once before he stepped forward and turned the knob. "See you Monday." Thank you.